All right. Welcome to He Said, She Said. We've got Michelle Hoffman and Sean Coe in the
What up?
house. We are here as master coaches to help you in all aspects of relationshiping in your life. So whatever is coming up your way, if it's pushing your life out of alignment, especially to the point where it might be causing health issues, we're glad you're here because we want to bring things back because life is better with good love in it. Now you know why we keep doing it, because it's fun. So Momo, would you like to be in the hot seat today?
I don't think I have a choice, do I?
You came.
You always have a
reason,
choice, but it's going to be a short call if you don't.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to start talking again. I don't think I sent you that recording, Sean, but I needed the partner, so it was, and then they rode off into the sunset.
Nice.
So we're giving you this opportunity. It's up to you whether you choose to take it or not, my dear.
It sounds like a superhero quest.
Bum, bum, bum.
I don't know. Like I just, a girl on a Tiga K Facebook page, or a woman, I should say, I don't even know her. She just posted something like, oh, you should check this out tonight. And for some reason it spoke to me. So I clicked on it, and honestly, I didn't even know what I was getting into. So here I am.
Are you in Tiga K?
I am.
So yeah. I just moved here a couple months ago. We're neighbors.
Oh, okay.
You definitely need to come to the party that I'm about to plan.
All right. Where to Tiga K are you? Oh, well, I guess if you're recording.
It's all right.
Where you at?
Bay. I'm on Windsong Bay.
Can I say something? Yay! No one will say. Sorry, I had to jump in and say yay for her.
Now we know how long you can stay quiet. Good.
Sorry. I just was saying yay. Okay, I'm going back.
That's all you wanted to say? Was that? It's like when you get photobombed by a pet.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to just like yay for her. Y'all.
Oh, okay, good.
I was just saying yay for y'all because I thought that was awesome that she's
yes,
close.
Now I understand.
Oh yeah, that's why I was saying yay.
Thank you. So yeah, you've got a fan club now.
It's awesome. All right, I'm going back on mute. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We like the enthusiasm.
Thank you. You have to share it. You have to share the love. That's okay, right. I'm going to mute.
She's giving you a chance. So what's going on with you?
Let's see. I've been separated for just about actually like 18 months, let's say. In the meantime, I started seeing someone, but I just put an end to that because it was getting to be like a control thing, and the ex is a narcissist. So anyways, at this point, I'm trying to just regroup. I've been meditating a lot and trying to follow my instinct and get in touch, with myself, like just that kind of thing, and not, kind of detox from all that. So
yeah,
a couple of online courses, and like, I think there was, I forget what it was, something about how to thrive after a narcissistic relationship, kind of like from the Daily Ohm and things like that. And
yeah.
Anyways, so that's where I'm at. And so anyhow, circling back to how I landed here. So I didn't like research the group or anything. I read like the little bit she had put on the Facebook page. I was like, oh, that sounds intriguing. Let me sign up for this and see what it is.
Good one. Now I'm wondering who posted it, because I don't think it was me.
I think it was Melissa Plumley.
Good. Yay. I'll have to thank her.
I kind of remember that name. So
good one.
So Momo, are you ready to dive into it? I have a question for you.
Sure. I didn't know. Honestly, I thought there'd be
we're ready to go. Like, no, I may be driving, but we're ready to go.
You needed it tonight.
All right. So my question for you is, what is the question you're searching for an answer to?
Well, I'd like to stop like making the same, it's like a variation on a theme. So I'd like to kind of break that pattern. Like the the original, my husband, complete narcissist, classic narcissist, etc. But then the guy I started to see, he's more, it's more subtle, he's like a helper, to a certain extent, but then he began to try to, starting to control me and stuff in certain, not like bad, but just, playing manipulative, I guess, in a way, making me respond in certain ways and complaining if I wasn't spending every spare moment, stuff like that, where like I have to feel guilty if I wasn't spending time with him, so on and so forth. So, it's just, again, like a variation on a thing, like somebody who's controlling, somebody who's stifling and suffocating. And, and I didn't recognize it at first, like I caught on a lot quicker, and it didn't really develop, but anyhow, I don't really need to continue doing this.
I'm going to go back to my comment to Pet Lover in Brooklyn, that Sean was like, oh, you're finding your power and who you are and all of that kind of stuff. And knowing who you are as an individual, I'm wondering if you've had a chance to develop your own roots and identity of who are you, which when you know clearly who you are and where you stand and what your vision is, like if you have a super clear vision, it's like the path for you opens up with a light shining on it. It's like walking a tightrope, and you want to focus on what you're doing and where you're going, and you don't really get caught up in these eddies of other things going on here because your priorities are set so clearly for yourself. And when you don't have really clear self-identity, self-worth, self-value, then what happens is you look for something and you can't always see the red flags or the green lights so that you know when to say, I need to pull back and clarify something on that to see if I'm going down the wrong path. Or do I say, I'm going, we're still going in the right direction. This feels good. And everything is easy. People say relationships are so hard. And I always wonder, what is so hard about being in this lovely exchange? I don't find relationship being difficult, which is obviously why I'm doing this. There's an art to it, but it's always joyful. Otherwise, we're not doing it right. Even if you're in a relationship or in a situation, your relationship with yourself, with money, with dating, with a partner, with a friend, with a community, with your family, all of those things add up to chisel who you are. And that should be joyful. It should really be one of your favorite things ever, all the time. And when those are out of alignment, as we were talking about in the green room before we started recording, it's really easy to fall prey, to be victimized or even self-victimized. It's also easy to forget where your boundaries are, and you can lose your identity completely. So that's
that's my problem, is establishing boundaries. I've always, Pet Lover in Brooklyn had been referencing strays in her life, and I'd always, I've gotten better at that, but there'd always be some sad sack hanging around that just would like suck you dry, like emotionally, just like these energy people, these toxic people that always, their life was chaos and drama, and they needed you so much, just your emotional support and your strength. And so I've moved away from that. I'm making progress. It's slow and it's gradual, but I've made progress. And what really kind of crystallized it was a guy at work. It sounds like I'm so popular, but I'm not that popular. Some guy at work today asked me, he'd asked me out on a date when I first separated, and I didn't go with him, and he kept kind of pushing and I didn't. So anyway, he kind of came back today and he was like, hey, you want to go to that dinner I'd asked you out on 2 years ago? And I'm like,
work it, girl, work it.
COVID came in and kind of like neutralized that, because it's awkward, how do you I guess you do say no, but for me, I'm like, oh, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, so today I was firm. I was just like, nope, that offer, that offer's null and void now. Like that's out off the table.
I rescinded that offer.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the last damn thing I need is to like, I guess I feel like it's like, oh, somebody likes me, so I don't have an actual reason why I shouldn't go out with them. So I guess I should be nice and give them a chance.
Reach halt. Okay.
That's like the mindset. Like for some reason, that's like the mindset. Like, well, I don't really have a good reason for it, so I guess I should give somebody a chance.
Okay. I am the greatest person to say give somebody a chance. At the same time, the way that I view dating, which is very fun, very, very fun. Like if you were advising somebody to, a person who's just now going out into the dating world, you'd be like, go and experience the whole chocolate box. Go out and have fun. Don't like the first person you meet live into eternity with them and never have a rich life experience in this way. And if that person happens to be the right one, then okay, but share that experience. So, people get frustrated, and with online dating, for example, I compare it to going into a coliseum with your favorite performer playing. But there are thousands of people in the coliseum. And by the way, you're very attractive. Pretty much all of them are going to think you're the cat's meow. You are not obligated to sleep with all of them. Phew, right? You're not obligated to marry all of them. You're not obligated to support everyone in that coliseum who thinks you're cute or you smell good. You are not responsible for other people's heart on either. Let me just start saying that to everybody. That is not your responsibility.
I'm relieved. Thank you for saying that.
If you were an inspiration to them, just like the performer on stage is an inspiration to everyone in that stadium, in that coliseum, and the entire show that they do, and they're on tour, but they're not responsible for all of these people. Each and every one of those people paid for a ticket to be inspired to have this experience. But that does not mean that the performer is obligated to take them home or go out to dinner with them once every 2 years or not, or any of it. It's just a big unequal sign to me. So
Well, I didn't do it. I was like, hell no, but I'm just, yeah, I understand.
you can say thank you for the compliment. That is, thank you. I totally appreciate that you're thinking of me. I don't feel that way. I don't feel the same way. So free him up so that he can find the right person.
Well, I kind of, hopefully he got the message. He's like, well, I had to try, it kind of just.
I'd just say, thank you. I really appreciate your trying. I have other things going on in my life.
Yeah, I didn't really get into it. But if I have to, if it comes up again, but at least I was like, because at first I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. I'm not even.
Yeah, bridges and boundaries. Make it super clear that we're not a fit, but thank you for the compliment. I don't want to waste your time. I already know.
That was the thought process. Like, this is, I don't.
You can say that super kindly. Sean, do you have a nicer way?
I'd like to take it a different direction, and yeah, like there's the execution of the delivery, but I have a simple rule. You deserve better, but most of all, you deserve better from you, which means that anything you say yes or no to can't be at your own expense. You saying, I'm going to go out with him just to be nice, that's at your own expense because it's not something aligned with what you want to do. And I actually would be much less worried about the execution of the conversation. I don't think you need to explain it. No is no is no. Now, I also believe that boundaries are set internally first and then externally, right? So your job is to set the boundary of your value internally and say no internally. Then it's like, you can use whatever window dressing of the explanation. I'm not interested. I'm focused on my career. I appreciate it. Thank you. Like there's a lot of things, but you've got to remember you deserve better from you first before you're going to get better from other people.
That's good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So he's who you're not going to be spending time with. And clearly you desire to be in a partnership. Do you have
I think not right now. I don't think now is a good time for me. Like I need to really complete my grounding and recentering and all that. Like this is not a good time for anything else. I don't have room for that right now.
So one of the ways that I define a really nice relationship is that you can maintain your own identity of who you are. First, you need to know who that is, because if you're not clear on that, how are you going to attract the right match? It's like literally almost impossible. So understand, just as you're saying, understanding who you are, and I think maybe what you're asking me and Sean to do is talk about how to get through that process. And then you dive into the dating pool, let's say, and knowing that you are relationship ready and that you have the skills to swim or at least bob around a bit to see what's going on in the dating pool for reals. And then also be able to identify who else is relationship ready versus someone who's going to drag you down with them, which it sounds like you've fallen for that one a couple of times.
Yeah.
Do it again. You don't need to make that mistake again.
Precisely. I'm not doing that shit anymore.
Yeah, don't do that shit no more. And the way to overcome that is exactly what you're doing. But what is resonating with me that you said was it's a really slow process.
It just, yeah, I mean, I've started, I guess, well, I finally just like have shed the boyfriend that was becoming controlling. And it was more, as I was pulling away, he became more unbalanced and more
right,
clinging and
styles, playing
the passive aggressive, and it was, so anyway, so I'm just kind of getting my distance from that, regrouping, reassessing and trying to get my, what do I want? Get my priorities straight, get it all together, whatever, realign my chakra, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get my energy kind of back and my feet on the ground and not have to, I mean, it's exhausting. Like, there'd be like 7-hour phone calls of me being accused of not, this, that, and I mean, just all this.
I have a question. Who the fuck has time for a 7-hour phone call?
Well, when you're being kept up till like 3 a.m. and then you got to get up and take your daughter to dance the next morning. That's who. Somebody who.
No. You don't have time for that. Phone. And like, no. Right?
Yeah.
I know. I would feel guilty. I don't, that's the thing. I allow myself to be manipulated.
So I think what we're talking about, and so if we look at some of the parallels of these last two relationships, is there's a power struggle over value and where value comes from, right? Attention, validation, control, things like that. But in a healthy relationship, as Michelle was saying, value doesn't have to be battled over because you both bring value and it optimizes or amplifies each other. Well, for that to happen, both parties have to know their value as a human being and where the power source of that value comes from. Then we can merge together and grow together in synergy, right? And so it's interesting that I had started off by asking you, what's the question you're seeking an answer for? And I think it is, where do I find my value? And so I think some of the work is to say is like, one, internally, like, can we find value based on who you are as a human being, period, full stop, nothing else, right? Total internal value base. And from that growth piece, like, you're doing tremendous in the work. You're doing tremendous in the getting out of a bad situation faster and recognizing warning signs faster and acknowledging and setting about, like, you're doing great. The next piece of that, or the iteration to elevation, is, can you find your value more internally so that you don't have to have an urgent seeking of it in your partner?
Right, and that actually resonates with something in that narcissist course I had taken about It was something like everything you like, divide your needs and your wants, and like basically what you think is a need is you're looking elsewhere for that, like you're seeking some that from the outside, like what do you need and want from this relationship? But it turns out all those needs really are, you can satisfy yourself into, like, from yourself, you know. That's not something somebody else can provide for you, these
Right.
things that you need. So yeah, I'm working on it. You know, I mean, I was married for 11 years, so it's a lot to pull back, you know, with someone like that kind of like belittles you. And I mean, he wasn't like physically abusive, but he would just be demeaning. He'd walk out on me, like if I'm you know, or trying to like express anger over something, he'd just walk out of the room on me, you know, and I'm like left there like in.
There's nothing you can do with that.
Yeah, so you know, after like a long time of that, you know, you lose like when you're treated like you have no value, you kind of buy into it to a certain extent. So I'm trying.
Well, therein kind of lies the secret of belief, right? It's not true or not true because it's true or not true. It's true or not true because of repetition, right? Like you said, when it gets so repetitively beat into your head, you start to believe it. Well, that's the answer, right? The way that we find value inside of yourself is to repetitively ingrain your value inside of yourself. Now, we have the benefit of it being true as opposed to not valued being true. But some of the work is, what is something you can do on a daily basis that makes you feel valued within yourself? What is something you can do on a daily basis that makes you feel safe within yourself? And we just iterate and we ingrain this in day by day by day by day by day. Unfortunately, we can't get past the repetitive need of action, but we get into the compounding effect of consistent behavior. It's like it's 1+1+1=1,000. And that's the beauty of it.
Want to practice?
She's like, I'm not sure.
What did you say, Michelle?
Do you want to practice? Do you want to try?
What, like an affirmation or something?
Well, you've told us that you have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, in and of the bit that we can see of you and the space that you're sharing with us, the resonance in your voice, the strength that you've had to get out of a relationship, the confidence that you have to be willing to be a partner again, the ability to be a parent and to care for your daughter in such a way that you value her physical presence in the world enough to bring her to dance class, enough that you care enough about other humans that you would be willing to listen to someone for 7 or 8 hours. So, I mean, are you getting where I'm going? You shared a whole bunch of really good, valuable stuff. Sean and I can see instantly your self-worth and your self-value. You have forgotten.
I have. One of the funny things is, like, I deliberately left my husband because she was starting to pick up on the stuff, and she'd be like, Daddy, you're being mean to mommy, you know, like, don't be mean to mommy. I was like, I do not want her making these mistakes, like, in her own life. I don't want her seeing this, like, this is not a healthy relationship, and I don't want her to end up finding this kind of relationship for herself, because that's what the patterning that she sees in the whatnot, you know. So that was like a big impetus to hit the road.
Okay. So I would put that as a seed. I'd plant that because you are a role model. You can be the role model for yourself. You can be the role model for your daughter. And oftentimes it's so much easier to take care and to be a role model for someone else than it is to take care of yourself. Because we feel like, oh, we're a better person if we're helping someone else. So now we need to make sure that you have that stability and confidence and competence in such a way that you are someone who becomes a mentor, someone who your daughter will emulate in all the right ways and not make the mistakes that you've identified them as, ooh, we're not going to do that again. But we have to do it on the little moments, the day-to-day things. At the cashier, don't accept the wrong change. At the restaurant, if it's not right, stand up for yourself. Those are the
Actually
things.
send the food back if it's not good.
Or whatever. I mean, you don't have to be a pain about it, but being clear about, here's the message that I sent. Somewhere this communication did not go right. How do we adjust this so that it is in such a way that everyone wins? So it's little steps. BJ Fogg at Stanford's got this whole philosophy on little changes over time make big impacts. I was speaking with a client today, and she was telling me how impactful working with me has been, because she's realized for the first time in her life that she's actually achieving her life goals. It's like, yay! You could have gone your whole life and not realized that. She's like, whew. And it really changes how you are comfortable in your skin when you're somebody who's like always climbing and striving and going, I can't make it, versus I set these goals and I achieved them. And her thing is she wants to make an impact in the health of the world. And she's doing it, of the world.
That's pretty amazing.
I know, but she didn't realize she was actually achieving her goal. So she was just thanking me for working with her. Like, of course, because that's achieving mine.
Where are you from?
You can guess.
Say New York or New Jersey. I don't know.
That's what people guess. I'm from California.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm. But everyone,
Northeast.
yeah, everyone sees me as a Northeasterner. I'm a triple Z snapper.
So Momo, can I give you a couple strategies to use on a daily basis?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a reactive strategy and a proactive strategy. Okay, what's your daughter's name?
Becky.
Becky. Okay, so what I want you to do is anytime you feel a feeling that you don't like, anytime you feel a feeling you do not want, or anytime you're behaving in a way that you don't want to behave in, what I want you to ask yourself is, what would I say to Becky in this moment if she was doing these behaviors or feeling these feelings? And then very simply, I just want you to, whatever you decide you would say to her, I want you to say it to yourself. Okay? Very simple, right?
Yeah, talk to myself like,
yeah.
That's good, because
now,
that's
now
model force.
go ahead.
No, I mean, that's good, because like that'll help me realize. Yeah.
Okay. So now the second one is proactive. What I want you to do is make a list of 5 things you want Becky to believe is true about herself. Okay. And what I want you to do is I actually want you to say them to her every single day. But the rule is you have to say them to yourself before you say them to her. And so you're ingraining the neuroreceptors and the neurological functioning in your own brain and hers at the same time. And then you're growing together. You're leading the charge of her growth so that she never has the relationship you had to survive, and you never have to experience the relationship you had to survive again.
I got the chills on that one. He gets the Z snaps. You go, Sean.
I'm not from New York either. So.
No, it didn't like seem like you were, but it did seem like she was. Just goes to show you can't always judge or tell what people are like.
I think you figured out what I was like in the green room. Before you got on the call, Sean.
I don't know if I want to know that story.
It's all good.
She was just dancing.
was just
Well,
teasing.
I've seen her dance lots of times. Every one of our calls, she's dancing. So
Yeah, I pretty much do a lot of that. I do a lot of that. I mean, there was a time. So what everybody knows about me, and it's like things you don't want people to know about you. I don't want to identify my life through this, but it definitely has changed my life. I've always had good relationships. I had the most incredible husband. We had a love that people still talk about. I do too. But like every now and again, someone will say something on Facebook or whatever about, yeah, you could, I would role model my relationship after Michelle and my Sean, not this one. Um, and or they like one of us would walk in a room and suddenly the whole room would light up differently because the energy was there. It would be like, so good. I scored. I totally scored. He was nothing like the guys I had been dating. I would have passed him every single day of the week, but due to circumstance, we were put at the same dinner table, the wrong dinner table, the wrong dinner seating on a cruise with my cousin and he and his best friend. And during dinner, he's like, "You are the one for me." And I would never, ever, ever have thought that. He was too young for me. He was a 25-year-old Thrasher skateboard dude. I was dating international stockbrokers. No, he was 9 years younger than me. Did I say that out loud? By the end of the night, we were dancing together, speaking of dancing, and he was brazen enough to kiss me on the dance floor. And I did what every guy dreams of when he kisses a woman.
You swoon.
I laughed.
kiss him back.
I laughed. But he was brave enough to say, "What's so funny?" And I went, my whole world has just changed. I was like, I was going down this track, the train came off the track, and now it's going toward you. That's what every man wants to hear when he kisses a woman. And that was it. We were not separated for more than 10 days. I had back-to-back business trips once, until the day he died, which was far too soon. So I know what a good relationship looks and feels like. And that's where I get my dance and all this stuff. But when he passed, I lost dancing. I lost laughter, which, as you know me now for however many minutes this has been, I laugh a lot. It was gone. It was just gone. And there was a whole lot we were missing. And when I've decided to be comfortable enough to share these kinds of stories, one of my girlfriends and I were on the phone. So this was a year plus after he'd passed. And she goes, "Did you lose your widow virginity?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." Yes. How did you know that? She goes, "You got laughter back." I'm like, "Oh, those were tied together."
Should have done that a long time ago.
Should have done that a long time ago. Yeah, so I had to shake that one up. But we got a dog. The dog brought laughter back into the house because she's so silly, and joy and responsibility and all the other stuff. So it's interesting how sometimes you grow from the inside out, other times it's from the outside in. But yeah, I'm laughing and dancing and yodeling and singing and not good at any of the things. But that's not going to stop me.
They bring you joy. Why not? Right?
Yeah. And I'm role modeling. Come on. We all go through the shit. We might as well be entertained and be entertaining along the way. Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time doing it. What better way could there be? Might as well have fun.
Exactly. It's getting shorter and shorter. Older we get.
That's right. So, all right. Do you or Pet Lover in Brooklyn, do you have another topic? Or Sean, do you and I want to riff on something? Or do we want to go deeper on any of this?
I can riff on thousands of things. You know me, I love to hear myself talk. So
I know. There was something that came up this morning. What was that one? Well, narcissism has been coming up with both of our friends here. You want to speak to that one? That one is like,
yeah, I mean, so when I work with, and I've had the privilege of working with many women who have been married to or in relationship with narcissist men, throughout my career, and it's an incredibly unwinnable battle per se. And so it's really about strategy and management and boundaries and self boundaries. But one of the keys becomes in any conversation with a narcissist, your job becomes to pick an anchor point of that conversation to always bring them back to. So whenever you're in a conversation with a narcissist, you should pick one point of emphasis, and everything they say, just bring them back to that, because they're trying to get you off, make you feel stupid, make you feel crazy, twist everything so that it's your fault that you feel like shit. And your job is to be like, yeah, but this, 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 yeah, but, until they get so frustrated, because they're battling for power and control. They don't care what you're talking about. They're battling for supremacy, and you're battling for survival. And so the anchor point is the survival. It gives you one very focused point where you're not scrambling for your senses and your grounding within the conversation. And that's why it's very important to set that intention before any conversation and just hold on for dear life and bring it back to that at all times. It's not a fun strategy, but it works.
I have noticed with the ex-husband, when he's actually literally actually gaslighted, well, not literally, but gaslighted me, like, that never happened. That never happened. It's like, are you kidding me? I have like an ironclad memory. I'm noted for my memory. Like, that did happen. Nope, never happened. You're crazy. You need to talk to someone, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, and he's a lawyer, so he knows he can argue and argue, he can whatever. But anyhow, so but when he starts to bully me, if I stand up enough and am able to hold my ground enough, he'll back down. He backs down, and I get my way in the end. Like, if I have the stomach to, tough it out for that whole time.
Well, it's not if you have the stomach, it's if you're willing to make the right play in that moment. It's like, I'm a poker player, right? Like, I know the right play 98% of the time. Doesn't mean I always make the right play. There is a difference between knowing what to do and actually doing what to do, what you're supposed to do. So just, like we talked about earlier, celebrate the hell out of when you do it the right way. When you don't, learn from it so you do it better next time. Like, because he's your ex-husband, you can always pull the eject seat on every conversation because you don't owe him anything and you don't need anything.
Separate. I call him the ex because we're working through the separation, but he will be the ex.
Right.
Get it ironed out still. But yeah, so for the meantime, like the time being, I have to placate him a little bit because I want to get what we've agreed to and not have it change again, particularly custody arrangements, so that's my big point, is how much custody I get versus what he gets. It's not the money, it's the custody. So, I'm trying to play nice, but like nice meaning not get him angry right now.
So what I would say, like, play strategic, don't play nice. Like, don't, like, because nice become, like, we start to pull back on our boundaries when we're thinking nice. If you think strategic, well, we'll strategically do X, A, B, C, like whatever it might be, right? Because, and it's definitely for a goal. Like, you might pretend to be nice to get a result. I have no problem with that.
Right. Yeah.
But we need to make sure that you're always setting the firm boundaries to get what you want and need.
To add to that, when there's a moment of truth where something is being negotiated, you're going to remember this very moment right here, right now. And you're going to stop and you're going to take a breath and you're going to go back to what's in the best interest of my daughter, because you want to be the role model. And it is much easier to negotiate for someone else you love than it is for yourself.
Right.
So when you're right there, you're going to take a breath. You're just going to pause. Nobody's even going to notice there was a thing. You're going to pause. You're going to take a breath all the way in and you're going to relax it all the way out. And in that one cycle of breath, you're going to be able to figure out what's going to be in the best interest in the long run for me and my daughter. Because you guys are a team.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know when that does happen, because I know you'll circle back with me and go, oh.
Yeah. It's time
Remember
for celebration.
Remember to exhale on that one. And nobody's going to notice. You'll
Right.
take one deep breath in, let it go all the way out. That will buy you as much time as you possibly need in the fight or flight or freeze. And it's gonna totally empower you. That's how you'll have time to think strategically, because you don't need to be nice anymore. You've already done nice. You did 11 years of nice. So somebody asked me recently, what makes you say, things that make you say, kind of dealio. And I'm like, things that make me say, are why do people do things thinking that it's going to be, I'm a giver or helper or whatever, but why do people do things for others that they think that might be helpful, but that person doesn't even want that. They forgot to get the clarification and the communication, so that it's a two-way thing. And so they're putting all this energy out, but that person didn't even want that thing. And so they kind of are like, I didn't ask for this. And you've now gone to so much trouble and effort to give the act of service, kindness, touch, whatever, it is. And they're like, yeah, this wasn't my thing. And then you're not even happy. So it's like, why did you do that? Why would you do that? So that's something that makes me say, one of my clients calls it FOBU. I don't know if it's an acronym or something, but that cute little monster just outside your head that is like doing things that you think other people might be thinking would be good. It's like, why would you do that? But we do it all the time.
I would say some of that's taught. It's like taught, it's passed down from mother to daughter, or, it's like familial, like you're trained up almost to be like this.
All due respect, it's really prevalent here in Pleasantville. I moved into it. Oh my God. My kids are like, all the kids are cookie cutter here. And I'm like, why do you think that is? And are we being lulled into it?
And Stepford.
Yeah. And they're like, well, if you go out of alignment and they bring you back in, then you suddenly are like, and I said it really quickly when we moved here. I'm like, we can kind of do what we want, but it has to be within the constraints, within the guidelines of generally accepted principles, which is totally fine. That is what creates culture and laws and, what's in the best interest for everyone in the long run. But it is very interesting because it's almost to the point where everyone's hair and their clothes and the way they walk and the words they choose. And yeah, welcome to Pleasantville. The lawn was a little bit too long in my front yard, and I was helped.
Oh, that's offensive.
I didn't really care.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, thanks, now I don't have to do it, but.
Well, no, I'll tell you, there's some Agnes Kravitz, is that the bewitched neighbor who's like going through the curtains?
Oh yeah.
Who must have been putting a flyer in my mailbox thingamajig, for a lawnmower. I just moved here. It's not my top priority. My top priority is my clients, my people, my family, right? And the length of my blades of grass was like directly proportional to this person's blood pressure. And so I took the flyer out, and then I'm like, maybe I'll get to that after spring break. And then another one went in. So I took it out, another one went in, and I'm like, oh, I see how this is going. So I called my landlord, and I'm like, we might want to help the blood pressure of the people in the hood. And so we got a gardener, all good. But he's like, should I just come over and do it? I'm like, oh, really? And he did. because you didn't want to offend the neighbors. And I'm like, I don't know if we did them a service or not, because now that person is back to yelling at their spouse. I didn't care that they were doing it to me. So no, it's welcome to Pleasantville. Did
We
you?
just don't have enough. Did I grow up here? No, I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, so yeah, we were just thinking we were the bond. I did spend 5 years in just outside of New Jersey in Pennsylvania. That's where I had the kids. But my personality was already set.
Yeah, it's more your like your style and your personality, like as you. Yeah, down here there's a lot of surface kindness and surface like, but it's not real. You know, there's no like, at least like people up north, you know where you stand. If they don't like you, they don't. You know they don't like you. They're not pretending they like you, and then they don't like you. You know what's the lay of the land.
Yeah, I don't have much superficial on me.
No, so
Going
that's
all the way in.
what made me think that. Yes.
We're going all the way in, or we're not going at all. Yeah, but that's
So
general.
Momo, let me ask you, how can we best serve you and support you moving forward?
There you go.
I don't know. I guess I can like let you know what's going on and get some advice, like I I didn't I didn't come into this like with like an intention like this. Honestly, I really didn't know what I was like signing up for, kind of, but I'm like, let me just like that felt like I was like trying to follow my instinct more, just kind of.
See, it works every time.
Things have been clicking, yeah, lately. Things have been it's been easy and smooth, and that like little things have popped up that have been placed in my path. So I'm just following those instincts right now. So I don't know. And
No,
it's
and that's beautiful. And I know you said you didn't come into this with an intention, but Michelle and I come into this with a very strong intention. And that's that we want to, in the fastest, most effective way possible, help people up-level their relationship with every aspect of their life, whether it's their children, themselves, their mindset, their belief structure, their relationships. And so that's why we do this. And that's why we're here every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, bring all your friends, come back, show up. We love jamming out like this, and this is super fun for us. So I'm so glad you were here today.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's great talking to you. And yeah, that's what I'd like, like you can it's good to get an outside perspective, especially a lot of the work I'm doing right now is internal. I'm not so it's like, it's good to get some like guideposts and
Yep.
if I'm going wrong, a little off track, get pulled back. And
That's what coaches are for.
so.
It's interesting. One of my best friends recently hired me, and she went through a major situation, and I helped her in 3 easy steps. And I was like, would I have talked to you this way if you had not hired me? And I said, could you, and we talked about it really frankly. And she said, no, I wouldn't have expected it of you. I wouldn't have heard it from you. But because she can see what Sean and I can do with and for people very quickly, and she knew that she needed it. And so she hired me. And then I was like, then she was, so her thing is, I don't know if it's that different than what you guys are going through. Her challenge, her relationship challenge is I don't trust myself to make the right decisions in intimate relationships or navigate changes in intimate relationships. Now, as my girlfriend, I would do anything for her. My heart she's related by love. But it wasn't until she hired me and then called me and said, this is what's going on. I said, do you want me to listen, guide, or help? She's like, I need to talk to the master dater on this one. I'm like, oh my God, you're calling me that. So I put on my coach hat and we figured it out, 3 easy steps. She did the 3 easy steps. And I said, she came back to me and she said, thank you. I feel empowered for the first time that I can make good choices in intimate partnerships. And I mean, it didn't come out like they didn't go riding off into the sunset. But she also didn't spend, 11, 20 years of her life with the uncertainty of being at the whim of what was going on here. And she was in control of all the bridges and boundaries. And she never thought she could do that in a really safe and loving way before. And now she's doing it. So it was interesting to have that experience, because wouldn't I have done that to my dear, dear loved one? And it was for her. And I'm like, not until she gave me permission, I wouldn't.
Right. Well, and what you also find is that like the transition from friend to coach, like when you invest in yourself, because you're not investing in the coach, you're investing in yourself, right? Like, and when you put skin in the game, it changes everything, because everybody's smart enough to figure things out on their own. When you commit with your resources of time, energy, and capital, it changes the game, and you give permission to that coach to guide you. And that's what Michelle and I do. We change lives in 90 days or less.
You need
So,
to know that about you guys.
Oh, you didn't
so I actually have to jump off, but Momo, it was such an incredible time. So,
super great to meet you, Momo.
Nice.
We need to connect.
and Pat Lover. Yes, exactly.
Brooklyn. I love that you're here. So yeah.
Oh, she's back.
All right. Well, I'm gonna jump off, but I love you guys. Have a great day.
Bye. Oh,
Bye.
she's shopping.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
You're so good.
Thanks.
Ooh, you're busy shopping. You really got things going on.
I had stuff to do because I'm so excited.
I don't know if you got my schedule to, oh, I can stop recording. Hang on.